by obtaining the translations from the server, right? And this actually happens every time you restart the application as I demonstrated. And it will try to pick the best suggestions by the community. I will explain how we do that. Translations with highest number of votes. And this is the process. The local application will send an HTTP request to the server. The request looks like this, and it specifies the language as a parameter for the server. The server will then generate an XML containing translations for the UI. It has a special segment or unique for vote. I will explain in a minute. And this client will process this XML and then it updates the UI. Similarly, the client will send an HTTP request to the server and it will send the XML back to the client containing all the translations. And this will process the translations and display in computer. And this is how you submit the translations. Again, it's similar to the previous step. You send an HTTP request to the server, and now you state the language and your submission, whatever the word that you wish to submit, and the source word. Right. So upon submission, let's see what happens. So this is where the analysis engine of a server play a major part. Actually, it will try to find whether the submitted word already exists in its database. If it is there, it will increase that particular word's word by 1. Right? And if it is not there, it will be added to the database. So that's how the voting mechanism works. So if two people suggest the same word, obviously you will get that word in your translated version of the application. So once you submit, the server will see whether it's in the database. If it is there, it will increase its port. If it is not there, it will just add that particular word to the database. So each submission will be counted as one vote, right? And then if the submission was successful, then the server will send client a simple XML saying the submission was successful. Again, it's similar to the previous step. Client will send HTTP request with all these parameters. And then if the submission is successful, it will just send an XML response saying the submission was successful. And again, you can retrieve other suggestions by the community. So this is where you pick this particular option, then it will try to fetch all the suggestions by the community. And again, it's similar to the previous steps. So you send HTTP request saying what is the source word and the language. It will retrieve all the translations from the server. And it will display the suggestions in the user interface, similar to the previous step. Okay, now, yeah.
Sorry, and then if you select number 3, next time you export, will that give your vote, cast your vote for number 3?
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly.
Okay.
But it's problematic, I will mention that. So we have identified some of the issues with this architecture. For an example, you have a button something like this, and what you do is you just right click on this text and you enter your translation here. This is German. And okay, I submit. Unfortunately, part of your string gets cropped. translating or submitting strings. So you have to resize the controls. You have to resize these buttons or whatever the elements according to the translation by the community. Right.
Well, is resizing a good idea, or maybe we could resize the like size of the font? Like if GUI doesn't allow you to resize the button, then
Yeah, that's a problem. So these are issues.
yeah.
We have to address these issues, and we are thinking that maybe it is at some cases it's not possible to resize,
Right.
and that doesn't allow, the application doesn't allow itself to resize.
Maybe you can word wrap the text and
And
make it small size and show it, display it there.
yeah. So this is
Or as a tooltip. As a
Yeah,
tooltip.
will come to that as well. So, have you seen this dialog before? Can you raise your hand if you have seen this? No? How about this? Have you seen this? Can you raise your hand? Yeah. Okay, and the previous diagram also comes from the word itself, word 2007, and this is word 2007. So in this kind of an approach, there is a possibility that users will only translate the most frequently used dialogues actually. Right? And that's another issue. So in other words, non-frequently used dialogues will remain untranslated. So that will eventually frustrate some of the users. Especially the documentation might not be translated as you expected in this one. These are some of the issues. And as you suggested, there is a possibility of crashing these suggestions that mentioned. Now this particular person suggests one particular word in German, and the other person suggests another word. It's completely different words for this particular term. So how do you select the best translation out of these things? So that has to be done by the analysis engine of this server. So that's why we propose the voting mechanism. Now this particular word is suggested by this person and the same word is suggested by another person. So we will replace the word with the highest number of votes. Okay. And still, so we have 4 persons here. We suggest one word, then we have the same word. Okay. And these 2 people suggest same word. So how can we decide which word to use in this kind of situation? So in our application we have developed a special dialog where you can select your preferred translation. So that I think answers your question. Choose the most suitable term out of the crashing situation. And once you choose something, again your submission will be counted as a single word. So we have done that to minimize future conflicts. Okay. But
no, sorry, one more. Assume that